for me, it's just being visible on social media and doing stuff like that is kind of like humanizing a dentist. Like I feel like, white coat guy stuck in his back office only comes out to do your exam. Like it's kind of intimidating. People want to, they want to feel comfortable when they're here, and they want to be listened to or like understood, like where they're coming from. You know what I mean? So it's trying to just get to know them on a personal level and understand like their motivations and their concerns and addressing those.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Go Live with Joshua Scott. I'm your host. Guys, this is episode 27. I've got a very special guest with me, my friend Brandon Pryor. Brandon, say what's up to everybody.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
For those of you that do know Brandon, he is the owner of 100 West Dental, fairly new startup right in the middle of this, right in the middle of a little pandemic we've got going on. So how's your week been, man?
This week's been pretty low key. I work my associate job, half the week, and then I do my office half the week. And we've been pretty busy in both spots. So I'm just doing what I can.
Yeah. I appreciate you being here, man. You and I, you recently launched a startup. I mean, technically it's a COVID startup. I like to call it. You're probably not, it's just not, you're not feeling that at all, I'm sure. But you and I actually first spoke in 2018. So it's been a couple years, and you were just getting started. Take this back before we jump into like COVID and launching the startup. Take me back to 2018 and like you finally pulling the trigger on your own practice. Like, what was that like? What were some of the factors that even helped tip you in that decision?
Well, it even started even way earlier than that. I got out of school in 2017 and then in June. And I think I started my first job at the beginning of July. And it took me, a few months to kind of get my feet wet and get up to speed clinically and all of that. But then quickly, I just kind of realized this is not really what I thought it was going to be. I had this vision of what dentistry was like when I was going to my dentist. And the job that I had was kind of like a corporate gig in, high volume, low income area. And it was just getting them in, getting them out. There wasn't a lot of relationship. The staff was not happy there. So that made everybody else unhappy because it kind of starts there.
Yeah.
So really toward the end of that year, I think is when I caught wind of like Ashley's story, and I started following that, and that almost kind of lit a fire in me and let me realize that you can create your own destiny really. So watching her success, going to like Breakaway and hearing seeing other people like on Dental Town and stuff like that, doing it. And I was just like, you know what, let's see what happens. So I think November of that year, I started looking for areas to start. And that was the longest process was, I didn't see anything out there at the time to purchase or even real estate to start. And it just wasn't working. So in the meantime, I got another job. And then, I eventually found a spot, and it's just turned out really good. And then, 2018, I reached out to you guys just because I saw what you were doing with Ashley and some of the other practices. And I think your company is kind of parallel to, what we're trying to do. So you saw a gap in dental marketing. You're like, it's just not what it could be. And you created your own way of doing it, right? Yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to do with dentistry. So, I reached out to you guys, and I think we spoke on the phone for like an hour, just kind of discussing ideas and what would be to come. And I was pretty much just ready to go at that point.
Yeah. That's something about Ashley's story, right? Like I hear that all the time, is the amount of people that were inspired by that. What do you think it was with her that specifically that has just tipped so many people? Like, what is it that they're connecting with, or what's the deal there?
Well, the fact that she kind of was so like vulnerable, she just put it out on Facebook Live, and it's like, you've never seen that before. I'm not familiar with anybody like in my family, any friends, anything like that who have started a business. So I had no idea what it would be like. I read some threads on Dental Town. It sounded like a good idea, but I really wasn't sure. But just to be able to see someone do it. And then, shortly after seeing that, she started the podcast with Michael. And I listened to that pretty frequently. And at one point, I reached out to Ashley through email. It's like she probably gets these emails all the time, not going to answer whatever. But she responded back, and we became close friends. So like to this day, she jokes about it, and she'll pull the email out every once in a while, and we'll laugh about it. But yeah, I mean, it's been a good busy couple of years for me for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. She's always been so great about responding to everybody, and really loves it. So okay, so I know we first originally talked in 2018, and then right at the start of 2019, I was looking back through my notes. It was January 2019. You reached out again, emailed me and said, got the lease in hand, ready to move forward with the branding part of this, like wanted to get that done, even though you knew it was going to be a little ways out. January there, I think you were, at that time, I think you were predicting end of the year, maybe opening. But tell me about, but when we started talking about branding, you had some really clear like vision for what you wanted that logo and your brand to look like. Tell me about that. Like, where'd that come from?
I think it's kind of my personality, I guess. I like things to be as simple as possible and clean. So even, thinking back to, the color scheme that we have, I was thinking about this the other day when I used to go to the orthodontist and I'd get my rubber bands changed out. It was always gray and silver or gray and black.
Nice.
And even, the clothes that I'm wearing all the time, I'm finding like I just gear toward those neutral colors.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of more, I don't know if timeless is the right word, but it doesn't come in and go out of style as quick as some of these other things. So yeah, filling out like the brand book and stuff like that, I kind of put those thoughts on paper, and you guys took it and made it happen.
Yeah. How did you come up with the name?
Oh man. We had some ideas. Me and your team had maybe 4 or 5 ideas, and this one is something that's local. So like my office is located on Manchester Road in St. Louis, which is a really long kind of highway. Basically, it's called Highway 100, and we're on the west side. So 100 West, it just seemed kind of modern and sleek. And even people that are driving on this road all day, every day are like, how did you come up with the name? I'm like, that's literally 100 West that we're on. And they just don't know it. Right. This is always Manchester Road. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's cool. It was almost like for me though, it was like you wanted a name that you could almost picture in the logo, right? Like it wasn't like come up with a name and then figure out how to make a logo work. It was like almost like those two pieces had to work together for you. Like I need this like, clean, modern logo, 100 West, that feels and seems like it could be real clean and modern and minimal.
Exactly. And then like just how you guys kind of like, here it is right here, but like the square, the 100, just something that's kind of like, it's sleek and simple, but at the same time, it's like bold, like I can take that 100 and I plant it on whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like, almost to the point where it's too much, but
I was gonna say you've actually done some pretty sick work with your brand, and you've done some cool swag pieces. Tell me a little bit about that. Was that, because I'm on the phone earlier, like 2 calls before this, and I'm talking about this guy's logo, and he's like, "What do you think?" And he's kind of like talking a little bit like you about wanting to impact the community, and it's a typical extracted tooth with like a river running through it or something, and and I was like, and here was the whole conversation. It was, if you're going to put this on swag, like if you want to put this on a t-shirt, if you want to create some cool pieces that people are going to wear, I don't know that they're going to wear an extracted tooth. No. So that might be the key question. That might be the key question you need to think about. And he was actually joking. He's like, what, you don't think people will wear a tooth on their shirt? I'm like, bro, no. But was that even part of your play of thinking through like this almost lifestyle part of it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I've definitely seen the teeth logos, and the problem is you just see those everywhere. A lot of the offices around here, let's say they were like pretty much built up in the 80s or 90s. And it's a pretty competitive area, honestly, around here. So I really wanted something that it had to be different and it had to stick out. And just something like that, again, even planting the 100, you take that and put that on a shirt, someone can wear that to the gym, and people will be like, what exactly does that mean? So
Yeah.
people will be curious about it. If it's an extracted tooth, I don't know, it's just kind of a big turnoff to some people, I think, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. I think you've created some really cool stuff. I mean, I saw you this January and you had a jacket on that was pretty legit, big 100 on the back.
Yeah, I'm a big jacket guy. That's why I like getting into the fall season here. It's a good time for me to get some jackets and boots and get geared up. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like that bomber jacket, man. That was nice. I got that. I think it's from J.C. Penney's or something. It's like Arizona brand. It was
Okay.
like $12. I don't know. I was like, maybe we could just get a big 100 and just stamp it on the back here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my wife did that, so it's pretty neat.
That's awesome. Yeah. And even the shoes, you made some custom Nikes, let's say 100.
Oh yeah, I keep them right here by the desk. Call them
Nice.
my work boots.
Yeah. Those are Air Force One highs.
Yeah, I break them out every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Only on special days when I'm feeling myself.
Yeah. When I saw that, the new kind of Instagram account out there, that Dennison Sneakers, they put you up on there too.
Yeah, man, you've been on there quite a few times.
Yeah, I've been on there a couple times. I'm dropping some stuff. I'm like, can I get a little love? So yeah. All right. So we talk in January. At that point, you had signed the lease, but it was a new build, so it was going to have that, and then your build out. And you were thinking at the time maybe like a November, December 2019 launch. Was that right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't think I actually signed the lease until July, when it was like actually official that I signed it, and I was like, okay, this is actually going forward. But then after that, so the entire building is brand new, and it's a big storage facility, self-storage, with like a retail front. So there's like 600 storage units in here, and then we took one of the corner spots. But then somewhere around between summer and fall, there was a disconnect between my team and the construction guys and the landlord's team. So there was a little bit of a disagreement there and some time wasted and some delays, which looking back, I'm kind of almost thankful that we did have the delay, even though it cut into my my free rent period and all that, because I missed the whole COVID thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I wasn't open when all that went down. I opened right afterwards when my state opened back up.
Yeah.
So it just kind of worked out for me.
Okay. But so you obviously have construction delays, and it's funny because I think most startups do have construction delays. I routinely have these conversations where they're like, yeah, I'm opening, October 1st. I'm like, okay, so, November, mid-November, like, let's plan for that. And they're like, no. Like, our foreman's like really awesome. What would you, just going through that yourself, like, what would you tell people? Any tips for handling construction as a startup and delays?
First, yeah, surround yourself with a solid team of people. I mean, you have to have a good contractor, obviously, that I would suggest definitely going with someone that does plenty of dental offices. You don't want to have change orders in the middle of your project. Luckily, I really didn't have that as an issue. Good attorneys as well, because that lease is basically the Bible for the next 10 years. So there's a lot of important parts to that. Other than that, just really kind of knowing what's going on, staying in touch with the entire team. Me and my contractor, we almost became friends. I have his number, his personal number. We'll call each other on the weekends and get an update. And our construction was right on point. The trouble we had was just basically with the landlord and who's doing what. Okay. So it really needs to be spelled out in a lot of detail.
Yeah. I think from my experience, here's what I've seen, and you can correct me if you don't feel the same way, but if the guys that I've seen go into this and almost play project manager with the construction and the build out tend to see less delays, shorter delays, tend to have just a handle on everything. Like they're in the space at least weekly, if not every couple of days. The guys that are just like, oh, it's being handled, and don't play project manager, they're the ones. I mean, I've seen like 3 months behind, I've seen, 4 months plus. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, for me, at my associate job when I was full time there, we didn't work on Mondays, so I was in the office like every Monday, talking to the construction team
Yeah.
and getting updates and stuff like that. We actually some things that are going to be out of your control. I mean, for example, we had all of our plans were approved. We were building the office. They actually came in and did an initial inspection, and then like 2 weeks later, they came back and said, "Well, wait, you have to install this fire alarm system in your office." So they had to go back in and do that after they already approved everything, and that was just an additional like $10,000 out of nowhere that suddenly popped up on the bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, just take the punches, man, because you can't control everything again. It hurts at the time, but when you get up and running, and you're in motion, you start to see the money coming in. It will be a thought of the past.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, okay. So COVID hits. When were you supposed to open?
Well, after all the delays and all that, we were basically slated to open in the beginning to middle of May.
Okay. Okay.
We had like a 2-week delay on the cabinetry because somebody in their facility thought they might have had COVID, so they shut down.
Okay.
So that put us back to like the first week of June is when we officially opened the doors.
Gotcha. Okay. So COVID hits, like, and you're supposed to be final stretches of opening your practice. Like, talk me through some of those moments.
Luckily, I don't really dwell too much on things that are out of my control. I mean, I know, me and you have both spoken with Alastair. One of his big things was staying in the zone of things that you have control over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's really all you can do. So that's what I did. And, I didn't know how the patient flow was going to be, but I knew I had to open the doors. So I did everything I had to get that done. Try to get patients in the door. I mean, I didn't know how that was going to work, but as far as staff, I really just started with one person because I didn't know what to expect. So she was able to do the front and come back and assist me as well. So I was very grateful that she was willing to do that and kind of take the lead with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Alastair, for those of you guys that don't know, Alastair McDonald is kind of our coach, personal, just professional coach. And we've been in a group of his since, I don't know, man, June, something like that.
Actually, that went by quick, but I think we started in June-ish.
I know, because I went on vacation.
Well, no, because it was before I opened.
Yeah.
Probably May.
Yeah, I think it was May and June. But what's that group been like for you just over the last couple months?
It's like really eye-opening, I guess. So for me, being basically the young guy of the group, for the most part, I'm kind of a fly on the wall, just listening to everybody's experiences. A lot of these guys own multiple practices or they have partnerships that had these struggles. And obviously Alastair has a large history of things that he's been through and overcome to get to where he's at. He's got an endless number of stories that are just really intriguing. But to learn from other people's successes and mistakes has been huge for me. Now, at times, he speaks way above my head. So like he has this understanding of like global economy that I just can't fathom at this point, but at least I'm learning the language and it's just one piece at a time,
Yeah.
But it's been really good. It's been awesome.
Yeah. There's sometimes I'm telling myself, I'm like, just hang with it. Like eventually over time, it's going to rub off enough and I'll start to understand some of it.
Maybe in 10 years, I'll look back and be like, oh, that's exactly what it's saying.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's been good. I've really enjoyed it because I started Studio 88 after the last recession. We started in 2014. So we built a company in a bull market, and I definitely had some concerns when COVID hit and just like economy and effect on business, and knew that there was kind of a new way forward. And I think that group's been really, really good for that. So it's been fun, but all right. So how is your practice? Okay. So you opened in COVID. Give me so you guys opened the first week of June now.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that? How did June go?
It went pretty good. So, I mean, I'm from St. Louis
Okay.
and I've been here my whole life. So I have a large family. I have a lot of people that know my family. So like the first month was a lot of people that knew me in some way or another. I want to say half of my patients in June were just from the network that I have. Um, and with the single employee, I mean, it went pretty good. I was really proud with let's say like we produced, what the overhead was. So, I mean, I couldn't ask for more than that in a COVID opening.
Yeah.
Um, so given that first month, and I was like, okay, let's go ahead and get the rest of the team on board and just go all out. The feedback from patients was great. People weren't hesitant to come in and get things done. If they are, they're not going to call my office, So as a startup, there was some opportunity just to also get patients from other offices that they weren't seeing people, or they were trying to get in, but their dentist can't see them until 3 months later because they're so backlogged. So we've had a handful of people that kind of were in that situation. And then they come, they're like, I didn't know dentistry could be like this, because they've been going to the same office for, 20 years. And then from that point, they just start to tell people they know, anybody they know looking for a dentist. It becomes word of mouth. And there's nothing really more powerful than that, when you're bringing something like this to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so give me like a snapshot of what July and August and just the summer look like overall. I mean, I know you've had some pretty good months here.
Yeah. So like at the end of June, like I said, we did pretty good with, covering overhead and stuff like that. I went ahead and I hired an assistant and I brought in a hygienist. Some people, might not agree with what I did with bringing the hygienist because they are expensive. But the one I have brings so much value to the patients, and it goes so well, as it's so worth it to me to have her on board. So we had her booked up in July and June. And then so far she's still, not June, July and August.
Yeah.
And so far she's booked all the way through September.
Okay.
And from that, they flow into my chair. So I don't know. I'm proud of where we're at. I want to say we've hit about 60 patients for the last 2 months as
Wow.
new patients. I always want more. I guess that's just kind of my personality type. But to stop and reflect, I would never imagine that we would see 60 patients, you know what I mean, a month in month 2.
Yeah.
You hear some people out there that are seeing like 150 patients a month when they open their door for the first month, and you want to be there, but I don't even see how that would be possible for me to bring the value that we do with that amount of people.
Yeah.
And the amount of time that we have.
Yeah, man. Look, I mean, 60 is amazing. That's far above average for a startup. And the truth is, I mean, you could build a monster practice on 60 new patients. Like even if it just stayed there, I mean, you're going to give it 2 or 3 years, but by, 2 or 3 years into it, you're going to have a huge, huge practice. So, and that's amazing to work with.
Yeah. Those numbers are good. And it's the hard part with the startup is that if you're billing insurance, right, like that doesn't catch up until a few months later. So like, I was like, we're doing all this work, we're busy, but like, we're still kind of like just floating, in the bank account staying around, that working capital area. But over time, you give it a couple months, be patient, it starts to come.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What have you guys, I mean, I know a huge part of your marketing play was branding and logo, website, social media, like making sure you get those pieces right. Have you done much outside of that?
I really am kind of just trying a little bit of everything and seeing what really works. So Facebook ads have probably been our biggest right now to get patients in the door.
Oh, cool.
We do a little bit of, mailers, and you might get a handful of patients each month from those. So the ROI is not huge there, but again, we're just trying to fill the chairs. One thing that we are going to be doing starting, I think, next week coming up is some radio. So we have a local radio personality that we're basically contracting with. So they're going to give us some shout outs on the ads on the radio.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that pretty much covers it. I just want to see what works. I'm not even paying attention right now to what is or what isn't. I'm going to give it a few months and then kind of look back. I know specifically with mailers, people tend to say 3 months or so for that to start really gaining traction. But if other things go well, that might be something I pull just because of the expense.
Yeah. No, that can get up there for sure. How, looking back now through this, like, how is your practice better because of launching during COVID and the pandemic? Like, are there things where you're like, because that happens, we're better here, or I didn't know about this?
Like in comparison to other practices?
Yeah, or just maybe even kind of like pre-opening and then having to adjust some things because of that, or just your mindset, like you feel like you're better for it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, again, since our schedule is opened, anybody that can't get into their office can come to our office. But I think the biggest thing is having the flexibility that other offices don't have to. It's a lot harder if you have a team of 20 people already, and now you have to implement all these COVID protocols and stuff like that. That's a lot more difficult than me just having 1, 2, 3 employees and just being able to throw all these protocols in there because we're a fresh start, so everything's a new protocol.
Yeah, that's true. You guys, that's what I felt from startups through this time. I've almost kind of been like, yeah, we're glad we launched now because it just really gave us a chance to be super nimble, super agile in how we were approaching some of these things.
Yeah, we could pivot quickly. And again, I was really uncertain about how it would go, but really there's been no hesitation on the part of the patients because I feel like dental practices, we do universal precautions, right? I mean, we're probably one of the safer places to go. There was kind of a big thing about the possible aerosol thing, but I haven't had any outbreaks in a dental office around St. Louis. I don't know about where you're at, but I haven't heard of any at all in any part of the country.
Yeah, I don't think there has been a single documented case, which was interesting because a couple of weeks ago when the World Health Organization came out with that, like, hey, you should postpone, elective treatment, it was kind of like, what? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think they might have come back and pulled that back a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think they did, but yeah, honestly, part of the whole kind of when COVID hit and we were dealing with practices and trying to help coach them, a lot of that messaging was you were already safe. Like, this was already a really safe place. So it's not that now you're doing all this stuff to make it safe. It's we're adding this, to increase our safety. But yeah, I think dental practices are super, super safe.
The media is powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people will take the media message and take it as 100% fact. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's usually not as bad as they say it is.
Yeah. I think that's been, like the sociology studies that are going to come out of this, of how groups of people have responded, in a large part due to media influence. I think it's just crazy. It's like going to be tremendous case studies for decades.
It's so divisive, man. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. Growing up, it's almost like a new kind of like civil war type of thing going on out there, where you're either extreme this side or extreme that side, and there's like nowhere in between.
Yeah. No, I know. I feel like so many days I've kind of just like, dude, just put your head down, just do good work, and don't pay attention to it. Just
do what you can control. That's really all you can do.
Yeah. The trichotomy of control. So,
there it is.
Yeah. Hey, I noticed on social media, you guys, and I don't know if this is something you do all the time, but it's almost like this giving back when you have new patients. Like, we had X amount of new patients, so we gave X amount. Is that something you guys have started just doing from the beginning?
No. So, I've been to like all the startup courses. I've listened to Jamie Amos. You've spoken to him as well.
Yeah.
And his team. So that's something they do with their practices is finding your give.
Yeah.
And I love that idea. So I kind of had that thought, didn't really know what I could do with that around here, but then I kind of saw this article or something with this nonprofit. I was like, this is kind of like a big problem that no one's talking about at all. Well, now it's in the news. They work with sex trafficking survivors.
Okay.
But in St. Louis, it wasn't really known. You see the movies, like you get kidnapped in an airport, but they told me, most of the victims, it's someone in their family that exploits them into this, and starts selling them off, for money or whatever. So I think I reached out to them like a year ago, and we had a meeting, and I kind of talked to them about what I was looking to possibly do with them. And they're like, oh, this is great. Like, we've been looking for someone to help, with dental care and stuff like that. So what we kind of came to was a donation per new patient. So we do $5 for every new patient that month. We'll donate to them. And that just goes to the members that they help to get them their basic necessities to live. And on top of that, we're going to start trickling in some of their members to help them with emergency care and preventative care, and help them in any way that we can. And then kind of the final piece to that would be, I think once a year, I'm going to try to have someone that their team selects for us to do like a free smile makeover for somebody that really is deserving of it. Someone that's really trying to turn the corner in their life. Maybe they got like a big interview coming up and need a new set of teeth. Just trying to give back, and find fulfillment in what I'm doing, not just running a business, making money, and going home at night.
Yeah.
Finding a purpose, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. What's the organization called?
It's called Healing Action.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love even the focus of that. I mean, what and you probably heard some of these conversations too, but what I find fascinating is just how much media attention some other issues are getting, and how little media attention sex trafficking gets. And people will point.
It's like a huge. Like, it's children. You know what I mean? Like, it's just messed up to me how it doesn't get more. And I even have, a patient of mine who runs a Facebook group. It's what he does is he kind of uses decoys to communicate with guys on these apps that kids are on and stuff like that. And they kind of pose as like 13-year-old girls. And these guys are trying to have sex with these kids, So then they'll meet up with them with the cops and bust them. It's just crazy how rampant it actually is. It's just not getting talked about. It's all over the place.
I know. That's kind of one of my hopes, is when we get through this election season, hopefully so many issues start to just die down, and some of that divisiveness, especially around politics, get out of the way, and we can focus on some things like that, I think would be huge. But yeah, it's crazy. So I know you've been pretty active on social media at the start from this thing, but you jumped into TikTok pretty early. Tell me about that.
Actually, so at my associate job, like way early this year, one of the staff members' daughters came to work and was doing TikToks, and that was like the first time I saw it. She wanted me to do one with her, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And then I ended up making my own page, and I did it a little bit, and then I kind of got away from it. And then all of a sudden, over like when COVID hit and everybody's at home doing nothing, that's when everybody jumped in and got on it. Next thing you know, all these kids are, living in LA, making millions of dollars doing TikToks. But actually, my assistant, she had a page that she does, and she kind of nudged me into doing it in the office. Mm-hmm. So I just started doing it, and now it's like I kind of have to keep doing it.
Yep.
But it's probably right now it's like our best content. So
yeah. I was gonna say, how has it helped, or if at all, like the practice, or what's the effect it's had?
Well, for one, it's fun for the staff, for the staff culture and all of that. And then, on top of that, for me, it's just being visible on social media and doing stuff like that is kind of like humanizing a dentist. Like, I feel like, white coat guy stuck in his back office, only comes out to do your exam. Like, it's kind of intimidating. And a lot of people just don't like going to the dentist. I'm like, hopefully this humanizes me a little bit, makes them a little bit more comfortable to walk in and just be themselves and talk to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
not bringing in a bunch of patients or anything like that. Occasionally I'll get someone that comes here to they'll share it to their page and say, does your does your dentist dance like this or something like that? But I mean, it's just fun for me. It's not going to bring me, 60 new patients more, but
Right. No, I think that's a really great, healthy perspective. Because like sometimes we do stuff like when we get in this marketing mindset, it's like, oh, is that going to bring in new patients? Is it going to be, I mean, I hear this every week. Like, Josh, I just need butts in the chair. And I'm like,
what's the ROI?
Yeah, yeah, right. I'm
On
like,
TikTok, it's like nothing.
Yeah, no. What's the ROI at TikTok? Not a whole lot. But it's like it's not the point. And I think when you're looking at marketing as being so transactional like that, you're really losing that human side of it, that human connection. And I think what you said was perfect. Like somebody sees you dancing and realizes like there's a human connection right there.
Yeah, I'm a person, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is just like, I think a lot of people miss out on this, dentists specifically. Like people want to, they want to feel comfortable when they're here, and they want to be listened to or like understood, like where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Like they'll avoid a dentist for 5, 10, even, I heard like 40 years. I think I saw a girl today who hadn't been in 40 years because she was just so nervous.
Yeah.
But if you have that person in your chair and you go in, you're like, oh, we got to do a root canal and crown. Okay, see ya. $3,000. They'll probably not come back. You know what I mean? So it's trying to just get to know them on a personal level and understand like their motivations and their concerns in addressing those.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. I have that I did an article a couple years back but I had that whole kind of saying where it's like, it was a conversation where somebody's asking me like, what's the ROI of a logo? And I've actually learned from the marketing.
I remember that actually.
Yeah. I've learned from the marketing.
I don't know. Side. Tell me about it.
Right. I've learned from the marketing side, anytime somebody starts the conversation with what's the ROI, I'm like, this conversation is not going to go anywhere. So I think on purpose, I tried to shock him and I was like, I don't know, like what's the ROI of your face, man? Like,
yeah,
your face makes you human. Like if you didn't have a face, yeah, like your logo, TikTok, like those things, it just brings that human element to it. Like take that out. Like, I don't know, like what do you have left? So it's, yeah, so much of
that, like with a lot of startup dentists out there, it's like a competition for who can like start their office for the cheapest amount of money.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, they're like, oh, my website was only like this much money. I'm like, well, look at it though. Like, have you seen it? You kind of get what you pay for, just like your patients. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that's been, I always, when I'm on the phone talking with startups, it amazes me. You can drop, $500,000 on a build out. But then you're talking to me about like a $3,000 website. I'm like, those things just don't line up at all, and to only have $3,000 or $4,000 to spend on a website to represent your $500,000 practice and, throw your student loans and everything in that. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. But what, I know you're a pretty introverted guy. Would you call yourself an introvert?
Yeah, actually. So I worked with Samantha Leonard in Stream HR.
Yeah.
And I did like part of that process is doing a disc profile.
Okay.
And it was crazy to like read about myself.
Yeah.
And like yes, because I have a hard time understanding and expressing the way I am. But reading it, I was like, yes, that's pretty accurate. So okay. I would say, yeah, I'm pretty introverted in large groups. But if I'm in like a small group of people that I know and I trust, like I almost become extrovert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to know that, but it seemed to hit home.
Yeah. What did your disc profile come back as? Do you remember?
High D.
Okay.
With a little bit of C.
DC. Yeah. That's actually exactly what I am too. I can be, that D is that drive, that like just go get it done. I'm competitive, even though it may not, like if I'm with people, I'm not that jerk competitive guy, but I'm like internally driven,
exactly.
To be competitive. But that C is like the attention to detail, the systems. I want things like organized and flowing right and all that. Right.
And I was on Dental Success Network yesterday. You know what Dental Success Network is?
Yeah.
That's from Mark Casa. Mark posted something that was saying how he's a visionary, but not an integrator. And I was like, you know what? That's me. Like,
Hmm.
luckily my team is, they take kind of my vision. They're the ones in there, taking ownership and putting it into action.
Yeah.
I have a hard time doing that. I know what I want done, but it's hard to, put one foot in front of the other and get it done.
Yeah. No, that's a really interesting conversation, because I've swung both ways. I think when I've worked for other people, that C probably came out more, and I was way more of an integrator in that role. Now that I've been with Studio 88, I'm leading that. It's way more the D. It's way more the visionary. It's way more of like, I ain't got time to implement this idea. Like, I need some people on the team, man.
That's the thing. It's delegation and trying to find. There's only a limited amount of time. It's really overwhelming how much. Even just starting out, I feel like I don't have enough time in the day to do anything. Even though I'm not even busy on my side with patients all day. I've got a lot more free time, but there's just so much.
Yeah. How is that? Has that made it, like, being a little bit more introverted? Has that made social media difficult? Do you have to push yourself to do it? Like, how's that go?
Yeah. I don't do a lot of like lives like Ashley does. She's kind of like a social butterfly.
Yeah.
So she was live all the time. I don't really do. So like TikTok, for example, if I'm going to put that out there, it's got to look right. Okay. So
The C comes.
you ask my staff, they can hear the sound of the music that's going on to TikTok. And what that does is like a 10-second loop, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'll just keep hearing it and hearing it. They're like, how many times are we going to hear that today? I'm like, listen, I've got to get it right. So it's like 30 takes before I post this on Instagram for people to see. But yeah, I mean, it's harder for me to put my face and my voice out in public. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you just look at it like that's part of owning a business, so just suck it up and do it? Or is it more fun for you?
I would say it's both almost. Yeah. I don't think, you don't have to do any of that to have a successful dental office.
Yeah.
But again, for me, I wanted to send a message to people about kind of what we're about and what it's kind of like to be here. I think that there's a big advantage to doing that, because if you don't do that, people are already nervous to come to the dentist. Like, don't make it more difficult for them to come in. I'm just trying to find ways to make it easier for them to get in and get the care that they know they need,
Yeah. Yeah. What, as we're kind of looking to the end of 2020, the end is starting to be in sight. What goals do you have for the last couple of months?
Well, I'd like to get into my new house finally. Sleep in my own bed. There's a long story behind that, but I just want to continue on the trend, that we have so far. Every month is just kind of getting better and better and better for the office. With that, I guess a personal goal would be to get back in the gym and kind of get back on my routine. COVID kind of ruined that. And then the little house mess that I'm in right now isn't making it easy for me to recover. So I have professional goal here would be to, again, have the office kind of continue its improvement. But more personally, I want to kind of get back to myself. I've just kind of felt like really all over the place lately.
Yeah.
Like mentally, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Given the startup and all of that.
Well, and probably living with your in-laws doesn't help that either.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm so busy, like I'm not there.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're good people. Like, it's not bad living with them at all. I mostly go there and I get there late and I go to sleep. I don't know if you've noticed on Instagram lately, but I've been drinking a lot more. Almost on a daily basis.
Yeah. Oh, that startup life, man. Yeah. Cool. I don't know. Have you ever thought like you're going to look back on this and just think about the story that you're going to be able to tell from all of it?
Yeah, I do frequently. I'm like, let's hope it's worth it. I know it will be. It's going to be. I mean, it's hard when you're in the middle of it, because sometimes it's like you're getting hit by a truck. even I feel it physically, man, honestly. Like I
Yeah.
feel tired. I feel exhausted. Um, some people don't quite understand how that can be if you don't work outside. Like you work inside in the air conditioning all day. How can you be tired?
Yeah.
It's intense, man. There's so much going on. And life is moving so fast right now. I have 2 young children. I don't get a lot of time with them at the moment. So that's another thing. Hopefully we can improve here soon.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll find, man, I think there's like this, we went through this with starting a business, but it's just like that first season is just straight up survival, you know? It's just like, it just has to go. So it takes whatever. And then you kind of move into the season where you get stability and you're like, okay, I'm not going to die. Like everybody's going to be okay. Yeah. Yeah. You can start to build some of that. Like, okay, now go like, let me prioritize myself for a hot minute and do some stuff, and then you enter into the season where you find success, and it grows and you're like, oh, I got this. And you kind of look back and you're like, I wish I would have told my, 3 years ago, that self, like, hey, this season's coming. Like, just take the pressure off. Like, we're going to get there. It's going to be successful. And then at that point, you kind of start looking into this like season of like, yeah, we're successful, but I want to be significant. I want to do something. I want to build a business that is significant and impacts people. And, I think you kind of move through those phases. I mean, we probably have had some success on the Studio 88 end, and I ask those significant questions probably more often now, for sure. But man, that first year to 18 months, it was just straight up like.
Yeah. And I knew it was coming. It's still hard. It's hard. And when the money's coming in, even when we have a little bit of a surplus, that's just going right back into it. I just keep thinking and looking for ways to improve what we've already got and build on top of it. And I'm just hoping eventually it is what I want it to be, and it's smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Someday we'll get there.
You'll get there. You won't die. Trust me. A couple more questions. Then I'm gonna wrap up with you. Who have been some of the people you've looked up to through this process?
Well, we already talked about Ashley. I also really look up to, Alastair is another guy. Even before the class, I would listen to his podcast. I've seen him speak a couple of times. He just brings a different perspective to everything. You know what I mean? So watching him, and dude, honestly, this might sound lame, but you and Joanna, watching your guys. So like a few years ago, you weren't where you were today.
Right.
But again, I see a lot of parallel between what you guys have done to what, a lot of us startups are trying to do. And you guys, you put out so much content. I don't know how you have so much time in the day, but you guys do so much. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, bro. Yeah. No, I mean, that's been kind of one of just our goals is being educators, being a voice, and I think when all this went down, it really helped us just kind of refocus. I mean, my team just really regrouped fast, and stuff I wasn't even seeing where it's like, do this, do this, do this. And I mean, honestly, that 8 weeks, I was like more busy than I think I normally was. And I travel some too. So all that traveling stopped. I'm like, I should have an extra 10 to 12 hours a week. And it was just gone. So my team's like, do this interview,
crazy, man.
Put out this, let's shoot this video.
So is this comfortable for you? I mean, you're always on video and all that. So is that a natural thing?
You know what, for whatever reason, video is, I don't know why. I've just always, I don't know. I feel like I can connect well across video. I mean, dude, the very first year we started this 2014. I mean, I started the 88 show in my office. It actually wasn't this one. It was the house before. But I mean, I set up a camera in front of me and was like, "What's up? Welcome to the 88 show." And I'm just sitting at my desk talking about marketing. So I think I was like, yeah, I knew I could do that. I'm like you. I'm probably a social introvert. I mean, I get into crowds, and here it is. The D-driven side of me can turn on the extrovert when I need to. But then I pull back and I'm like, I'm exhausted. Conferences, all that social, I can leave a conference, I'm just drained.
Yeah. But then all that, but then, you have 2 kids as well. Yeah. And Joanna, you guys seem to work very well together and get along so good. I need some tips, bro. Like, I love my wife, but the problem is she doesn't relate to what I'm doing, and I'm a bad communicator, like bad.
Yeah.
So I know you guys maybe should just be giving me class on this or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, it's tough, dude. We just celebrated 24 years, and yeah. I mean, I wish I could say it's like the easiest it's ever been. It's just not, man. It's just we never give up. We always just come back to the best possible explanation for each other, like just believing the best, thinking the best, like speaking the best about each other, and just constant. And we have a weekly meeting set up. We just constantly try to come back to some of these things. So but yeah, we've always kind of worked well together. One of our values is just kind of doing work together. So, but yeah, we could chat anytime. Give me kind of COVID highs and lows. What was a high? Like, what are you proud of yourself about? What's a low?
I'm really proud of the team that I was able to assemble here. And they came untraditionally. So I was active on social media beforehand. And these are people that have kind of known me a little bit. But when you kind of put yourself out there, even with employees, they're reaching out when they know you have an opening, I didn't have to go on Indeed to get them. I think for like COVID almost threw a wrench in their life, and they're like, okay, if I'm going to change, now's probably the time. So they kind of jumped on board with me, and it's been great. Unfortunately, I'm going to replace my assistant here soon. She got this insane offer to basically double her income. So she's going to take that, but she's always welcome back.
Yeah.
But they do so great, again, implementing my vision, treating the patients well, and we get great feedback, from reviews, but also, face to face, they tell us so many great things.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of what we're doing here. As far as lows, again, it's just the time. I don't have as much time as I want, free to spend with my kids and stuff like that. Even when I'm at home, mentally, I'm not at home either. You know what I mean? It's just so all consuming.
Yeah. So part of the curse of being an entrepreneur, man, it never stops, never shuts up, So
well, I was thinking like recently too, I'm like when is good enough? Because even when I'm at my peak here and we max capacity, like personality wise, I'm just like, okay, what's the next thing? That just seems to be the way it is.
Yeah. Well, and the truth is, like, I'm looking at your launch in the last 3 months, and I'm like, bro, you killed it.
Right. And I'm like, what's next?
I know. Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm already in the 2021 with some stuff of like, we just got to do this, we got to do that, and whatever. And you got to figure out. I mean, it's different. You're in that survival season, but at some point you got to, kind of slow down and go, how do I enjoy this? Like, enjoy that journey as well, not just the mountain peak,
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm probably missing is like the gratitude part of things. Like, stop. I don't look back, good or bad. I don't look back at all. I'm always looking forward.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing for me, but it can also be bad because I'm not looking back to tell myself that things went well, here, or, how do I learn from that experience?
Yeah.
I don't reflect maybe as much as I probably should.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. And one thing too, I actually just did this with our team, and I was talking about this a little bit last week on social, but that whole kind of discipline of celebration, and even for little things like the D entrepreneur driven side type A personalities, we're so bad at stopping to look back and go, that was awesome, let's celebrate. Because there's some of it where it's like assumed. It's like, of course that happened, and of course we did good, and of course we're amazing, but there's so much more to we move on. Well, like that just wrecks teams, and so I grabbed a bottle of Veuve champagne last week on a Monday, and just at 3:30 I had this like thing in the agenda where it's like surprise, and everybody's like, what's the surprise? And I'm like, it's a surprise. And and there were just 2 little announcements, but just opened the bottle of champagne, and because I'm like, look, it's just been tough, and COVID has a funk to it, and we just have to choose to kind of set our own vibe. And So, and then like in a couple of weeks, I think we've got like our kind of local pub here. We're going to rent out and get the team together for just a happy hour. And, you know, cause I can be bad at that, but when I stop and think about it, I'm like, that's what we need right now, you know?
No, I definitely agree. And it's something that even just, I mean, let's say we're 3 months in now, seeing how well things have went. Obviously there's daily struggles, but looking back at the big picture, like I never would have thought we would have done that well in COVID as a startup, seeing that many patients. You know, I think I need to make it a point to probably show more appreciation, which, you know, again, it's not something I'm good at. It's like expected to me, you know, but the team needs it.
No, I mean, the team needs it. You probably need it. Like bring home a nice bottle of champagne or wine or whatever, get a bottle of Opus One or something and bring it home and just pop it and, you know, do a patio night with your wife and just be like, hey, you know, babe, we did it.
I've been on an old fashioned kick like lately, but unfortunately my wife doesn't really drink whiskey. So
yeah,
I'll have to find something new.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's like your first quarter, man, you did it, you know, and you not only just did it, but like you killed it. So like
it's still open. So
yeah. So, all right, man, last question. It's Friday night. It's tonight, end of a long week. What are you ordering to eat? What are you drinking?
Oh, what am I ordering to eat? So actually my parents are going out of town for the long weekend. And me and my brothers are probably going to be hanging out over there, house sitting almost, but mostly drinking by the pool. I'll probably be drinking old fashioned so I can finish off my bottle tonight. And I think we're smoking up some ribs.
Nice. That sounds amazing. You have a preferred bourbon for your old fashioned?
Not really. So the one I'm drinking is it's actually a guy that I went to high school with. He started a little distillery here in our small town, and he's kind of blowing up too. So that's been cool to see.
Nice. Well, yeah, dude, alcohol sales, I mean, through this.
Dude, killing it.
Yeah. Alcohol and delivery, man.
It'd be interesting to see the stats, you know, a few years from now, looking back, alcohol sales are up. Home gym equipment has been insane.
Yeah.
Divorce rates are probably skyrocketing.
Yeah. No, I have this feeling like this January is going to be a ton of alcohol. Like New Year's resolutions are going to be a ton of alcohol detox because like everybody started drinking more in quarantine and COVID. And I don't know that most of us have like cut back to, you know, pre-COVID. So you're going to hit December and be like, we got to quit. It's been a whole year. So. Oh man. Well, hey dude, I appreciate you being on. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
If people want to find more about you or connect with you online, where's the best spot to do that?
I'm all over Facebook, Instagram. My Instagram is Prior DMD or 100 West Dental. You can hit me up either of those. I'm in both of those. Yeah, I'm all over social, man. Anywhere.
Awesome. Well, hey man, enjoy your holiday weekend. Gosh, you know, we'll still be in touch. We've got a website where actually the photography came back this week.
Oh yeah, I just got, dude, that's good.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah. No,
I can't wait for the website too.
Yeah, your website's going to be sick for sure. So that's going on. So we'll be in touch, but man, you know, wish you the best of luck. If there's anything else I can ever help with, you know, never hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, buddy. I appreciate you.
Cool. All right, man. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
See you, bro.